Let me see. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Gaskins here. Let me make sure I can. I don't have long. We have a soccer game for our 8-year-old today, but I'm going to start doing these over and over and over, different ones, just because, a lot of people are looking for some purpose work, another option in their life. But there's a lot of myths out there, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about it, and a lot of people who don't do it, who haven't had success in it, or who have been scammed in it talking about it. So I wanted to come on here and just kind of clear some things up and dispel some of the myths and help you have a better understanding of what life coaching is, because there's many different variations of life coaching, and it's not just what people think it is. And it's a lot of shammers and scammers out there, so it gives it a bad name. Just like in any industry, you're going to have some crooks and some swindlers. So I wanted to do this video so it can live, it can stay up, and people can, you can refer back to it if you can't see it all. And I'll be here about 30 minutes, because maybe 45, because me and my oldest son, we gotta go to our younger boy's soccer game today. So right now, give me 1 second here. And also really doing this for the Blessed Business Tribe, because I'm put this on here. Paul. Awesome. So here's the thing. In a lot of times people ask, what is life coaching? What is life coaching? Life coaching is not counseling. Life coaching is not therapy. And a lot of times people will write me, and because I talk about things online, they'll write me and say, hey, can I sign up for a counseling session? And life coaching is not that, because in counseling and therapy, you will have a treatment plan. That individual is licensed by the state. They have a degree, a college degree. They've taken tests. And so it's different than coaching, because in coaching, there is no state license. In coaching, there isn't a treatment plan. A coach is essentially someone who has a heart to serve, and they want to help others. It's really like a motivational friend or an accountability partner. And if you pay a coach, you're paying the coach for the value that they're adding to your life, just like any trainer, just like any consultant, just like any body that you would hire for their expertise. That's what a coach is. And coaching spans across so many different categories. But with coaching, it's different, because you have to be careful, because some people say, hey, I want to coach on depression. Well, or I want to coach on trauma, or I want to coach on childhood, you know, abuse and things like that. You can't coach on those things, because those things are clinical. They come from clinical diagnosis. You go, and if you're depressed, that there's medicine for that. So a coach is not diagnosing, and a coach is not prescribing. The coach doesn't have the power. A coach could diagnose illegally, but a coach cannot prescribe anything. A coach can't write a prescription that you can take to, the pharmacy and get something for. Also, a coach cannot not only prescribe, but you cannot label someone as a coach. You don't go and say, hey, I think you are a narcissist. Even being labeled a narcissist is done by a doctor. That is a clinical term. That's not a narcissist may understand. I mean, you may understand it, everything a narcissist is, but as a coach, that is outside of the scope of what coaching is. So coaching is not focusing on the past so much. You're focusing on the present. You're focusing on the here and now, and how do we turn the pain into purpose. So I remember talking to my friend Danielle B. God bless you. And any questions y'all have, put hashtag Q and put and in there, and I'll look for the questions as well. But I'm kind of giving just general information right now. I remember talking to my friend, my college teammate. We played football together. He's in Maryland and he's a therapist. And I said, hey man, can you help one of your clients write a book? And he said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. He said, man, I get audited out the yin yang. And he said, now I can refer my client to you and you can help him or her produce their book. And that's a slight an example of the difference between a therapist and a coach. So a coach is really, you focus on the purpose work. You focus on activating. So you help your client write their book. You help your client start their nonprofit organization, start their for-profit company. You help your client create a plan of action, create a day schedule, create a budget, create any type of plan, and then you hold them accountable. You set goals, you help create the plan, and you hold them accountable. A coach, similar to a therapist, a lot of people have hired me for coaching, and they said, I've been in therapy for 2 years, I've heard as much as 10 years. And then they'll say, but I want to coach because all my therapist does is just ask questions. She or he just asks questions, and they ask questions. And then one client I worked with, on her book, her therapist doubled as a life coach. So a lot of therapists now are adding life coaching to, so a lot of therapists have taken my certification course, which is a training course because there isn't a certification in coaching. So that's another topic. And so a lot of therapists have taken my training because they just want to learn more about coaching because it's not necessarily taught in their college program, their degree or their master's about coaching. And but they double as that because they can give different insight as a coach that they may not be able to say or do as a therapist because their state's regulations, they may get audited for certain things. So a coach has a little more freedom. And essentially, when you see big name people like a John Maxwell, he's a coach. That's a life coach. When you see Tony Robbins, that's life coaching. Tony Robbins doesn't have like a degree or a certification. May have a certification, but not like a state. That's why it's not Dr. Tony Robbins. That's a life coach. So it's really turning life experience into wisdom, turning mistakes into lessons, turning pain into purpose. And a coach can team up with a therapist, and you can have your client say, hey, you should, work with a therapist for your childhood trauma. But then when you create your plan, like your workout schedule, your writing schedule, your reading schedule, and you're starting your nonprofit, you come to me for that. And this is what you're telling your client as a coach. And I'll help you stay on track with that. And I'll help you with the creation and the naming of your company and help grade you on how many workouts you got in, how many writing sessions you completed. And that's what a coach does. So a coach has to be able to bow out gracefully and say, hey, that's above my pay grade. Even though a coach may be paid more than a therapist, that's outside of the scope of what I do. You need to talk to a therapist about what your mother or father did to you as a child. And so that's one of the things I've seen is a lot of people trying to come into the coaching, but do what a therapist does. And that's illegal. And you will get in trouble for that. Um, is there a particular coach you recommend for confidence? No. One of the things I do is I don't recommend coaches really. Like I will promote my coaches through paid promotion on like my story, but all coaches the same. And who I would recommend may not be a fit for you. So what I say when it comes to coaching, my mentor.life, that's a coaching website, is just go through and take the time, just like when you online shopping for your next outfit, you look through every page and you look at it, you look at the material, you look at the size chart. Do the same thing when you're looking for a coach. You look at the picture, see how they present themselves. You click on their page, read their bio, see what their story says, to see if their story says they have tapped into confidence. And if they're in your budget, you book that coach, you do a session. If you don't like the vibe of the coach, okay, you go to another coach. And just like with anything, when you're trying to find a financial advisor, you're trying to find somebody to do your tax preparation, you may have to go through a few different people before you find that fit. And that's the same way you find a coach. And we have a lot of coaches on my mentor.life. Another one of the big questions is about certification. A lot of people, they write in and they say, Tony, is your course ICF accredited? And the answer is there is no accreditation in coaching. When someone is accredited, you're accredited by the state. So the state has a regulatory board that accredits your universities. The same thing with, so when a therapist gets their license, it comes from their college degree or their master's, if depending on how far they go and type of therapy they're doing, and it comes from an accredited university or college, and the state governs that. So they will have to take a state test of some sort. I'm not a therapist, so I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but they have rules and regulations and a governing body. And if you break those rules, then you will lose your license. The reason why accreditation doesn't exist in coaching is because it's not regulated by the government. So therefore, the accreditation is only as good as the person or the company who gives the accreditation. So ICF knows no more about coaching than I do. So I'm not going to go to them for an accreditation because I'm a seven-figure coach who is a coach for corporations, for schools, and for individuals. So I've worked on every level of coaching and I understand coaching inside and out. And I was the first life coach to be hired by an NBA team that isn't a former player. And that was a life coach, not a sports psychologist. The NBA team that brought me in, they fired the sports psychologist and replaced the sports psychologist with me. And I talked to Hall of Famers who played in the 90s and early 2000s. I talked to lottery picks who played in the 80s. No one had ever had a life coach. I talked to the current players. No one had ever had a life coach who was just a life coach, not a former basketball player in college or pros on their team. And so with me doing that, I understand coaching inside and out. So it's no reason for me to go to ICF. That is for if you know nothing about coaching, you Google, then you find ICF because they spend a lot of money on search engine optimization and putting backlinks all over the web. So they come up number one on Google. But when you look at their records, because their reports, because they are a nonprofit, when I looked at it, they spent $600,000 a year in like SEO and web stuff. So it comes up as an authority. And that's the one downside of Google is you can pay to play. So if you have great SEO, you can show up on the first page of Google, but not really be that guy or that gal. And that's kind of the thing with ICF is it's people who come from academia, people who come from like the board, who come from running businesses, and they say, hey, this is a huge market. There's a lot of space out here. Let's place ourselves as the authority, as the giant, and everybody coming in who doesn't know what they're looking for or what they're doing, they will see us as the authority and think that we are regulated by the government and that this accreditation holds weight, and they will take a certification course through one of the courses we have accredited, and the courses will pay us to accredit them. And so I've never done that because I have not needed that. So coaching is based on your personal knowledge, your personal experience, your personal life. What you do as a coach, you're not learning from a book in a school. You can read a lot of books and have a lot of knowledge that you can share, but that's not what coaching is about. So with therapy, that's why they have treatment plans, because they have read the books and studied, which comes from human study, and they understand. And that's how a doctor can diagnose you. It comes from human study. So a coach isn't diagnosing, but a lot of the stuff that I explained that life taught me before I was reading like that, reading books like that, people will say, oh, such therapist said this, and such doctor said that. I'm like, really? And the reason being is because everything, it comes from human study. That understanding comes from human study. And so you don't have to be accredited. The course doesn't have to be accredited. What you want to look at is who created the training and what success have they had as a coach. Do they understand social media and building a brand on social media? Do they understand marketing on marketing a brand in today's world? Does this person have a brand and success? If it's just a course and you can't see the creators of the course, then it's just academics. You might as well go to college, because now 4-year colleges are giving life coaching degrees, because it is becoming a big business. And the way our world works is people going to tap in on business opportunities. That's just the way the world works. Now, when I created my training course, certification course, there was, in certification, you certified by that person. So you will be a Tony Gaskin certified coach, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell. John Maxwell has a certification. It's probably between him and Tony Robbins, they probably got, they may be neck and neck. But, and I think John Maxwell may have partnered with ICF now, but it's other big coaches too. Maybe her name is Lisa Nichols. I think I saw her course, and maybe it was with ICF. So ICF have spent so much money, and they've fleshed out their business to where they've positioned themselves as an authority, to where if you want respect, you will get their accreditation. I'm not really concerned with that. I'm for who I'm for. So my course is for who I'm for. I want people to look at what I've built and to see that I know what I'm talking about, and to understand that it's training and that it's not a certification like a therapist is certified, because it's not regulated by a governing body. It's a training. And I like to be transparent and clear about that, instead of giving this other image that a lot of coaching courses are doing, just as a money grab. I meant to say, what's the average pay rate? My hourly rate right now is $450 an hour for coaching, but I've been a coach for 15 years, and I've built a personal brand. The minimum that a coach typically charges is $25 an hour. That's where I started at in 2003. No, not 2003, 2007. And I was making $9.50 an hour as a counselor in a group home, which is not like a counselor, but this is what they call it. And so $25 an hour was a major raise for me to be operating in my purpose. And I had written a book. And I would go up to 30, 35, 40, 45. I may come back down if things were slow, and it just came with the marketing. And then over time, as the demand goes up for your services and as your value increases because of what you've learned, the knowledge you've accumulated, to where you can help somebody, you can help change somebody's life because of the connections you can make for them, then it's like somebody came to me for coaching, and it was an artist wanting to build her brand, and I put her on the phone with Missy Elliott. So because I had met Missy Elliott and I knew her and I talked to her, and so my client in one phone call, in one session with me, was able to get on the phone with a legend. So that's value, and that added value, you can increase your rate because of the value. A guy came to me, he wanted to build his business. I connected him with a Hall of Famer, NBA player. He has a sports memorabilia app, and the Hall of Fame NBA player signed up, partnered with the guy in business, and got 10% equity. So I also had to increase my rate because of the value that I'm adding. And so when you can add value, and let's say you create a proprietary process. So my proprietary process is called the GAP process. GAP stands for gifts and purpose. And it has a bridge. So I'm bridging the gap between your gifts and your purpose. And I have a proprietary process that I take you through to help you identify your gifts and then to help you identify purpose in the gift. So if you create a proprietary process, you give it a name, now you're able to charge more because of the value that you're adding. Now, of course, factored into your price is your experience, your the demand for your time, and but you're not just charging for time, you're charging for the value that you can add. And so that's why it varies. I recommend starting at $25 an hour just to get some practice, and going from there. But Tony, how much will we charge per hour? And I kind of answered that, so I know you got that. Um, Always start at 25. On my mentor.life, the minimum is 25. We probably should make it 0 for people who just want to get some clients just for practice. But I recommend 25. A lot of people who have never coached don't understand that it is an art form to it. It's not just getting on the phone and just running off at the mouth. And that's what I had to learn, because I started coaching professionally at like 23 years old. And I would ask the client a couple questions, and the client would talk maybe 5 minutes, and then I'll preach to the client for 55 minutes. And so that's what a lot of coaches are doing. A lot of people who have podcasts, a lot of people who have YouTube channels, a lot of people who are coaches, who are authors, who are speakers, a lot of us can be full of ourselves, and we like to listen to ourselves talk. And that's where we go wrong in coaching, because coaching is about service. It's about humility. So when I learned that as a coach, and I learned that this person, this is their money, this is their time, and they paid me, this is their floor, they need to do the talking. I learned how to ask great questions. And in their talking, in their answer, they discover the answer for themselves. And then I can confirm their answer, or if I disagree with their answer, instead of telling them they're wrong, I can come up with another question from another angle, so that when they answer that, they come up with another option. And then they see, oh, and the client will correct him or herself. And from the outside looking in, we have 20/20 vision, or 2015, which the doctor told me that's better than 20/20, and I got 2015 vision. Praise be the Lord. That no, not those of y'all who wear glasses. My mom wear glasses. God bless you. But on the outside looking in, we got 20/20 vision, and so we don't have 20/20 vision in our own life. We sit there and we be stuck in our own life. We don't know. We be paralyzed in our own life, not knowing what to do. But when we look at somebody else's life, we could see the whole field. We could call the plays because we could see the whole field. We standing on the sideline. When you out there taking the snap, you're not going to see it the same as a coordinator up in the skybox. And so that's where a coach does. And you able to ask the questions to lead your client to the answer. Let me see. Christine Williams, God bless you now. And so this is the thing. Anybody, and I created an acronym for listen in my textbook. So my father and I, we went to a beach house. My partner owned a bunch of beach houses. And in 2013, my dad took a certification for $2,500. And he took the certification. It was $2,500. It was a Christian certification. And he said, Tony, this was such a waste of money. He was like, they got me reading this book that this man wrote. It's on Amazon. The book don't have nothing to do with life coaching. I read the book, I read a chapter, and then the next week I get on the phone with somebody and they ask me about what I read. And he was like, I ain't learning nothing. And I say, you know what, Dad, at that time, 2013, I had started working for the NBA. I was a speaker to the NBA rookies, to the top 100 high school basketball players. I had become an intercontinental speaker. I was a celebrity life coach by that time. And I was, I think, 29 years old. So we went to the beach house and I wrote a whole textbook on life. It's called Life Coaching A to Z. And I put the whole blueprint in there and started the course. My dad paid $2,500 for his life coach certification. So I made my course $1,500. This was 2013. So now we in 2022. So the course has been in existence for 9 years. And through this current online system, we certified, last I checked, 2,700 coaches and all different rates. Sometimes I just feel crazy and I, give a discount on it. But right now, for the equivalent of what's in my course, I got a client who she's paying $12,000 for her life coach certification. Listen, let me help y'all understand something about paying for these certifications. Let me help y'all understand something. Yes, it was my main source because I'm an introvert. So me doing a video, even though y'all on here, I'm really talking to myself and I'm able to frame it like that. Whereas if I had to go outside and walk up to somebody and put a business card in their hand, that feels totally different to me. So based on my personality, I was just sending tweets. So really it was my tweets that blew me up because I'm a poet and I wrote poetry first. And so I would take wisdom from life and I would write it poetically, and that is retweetable. And so people would retweet it. And that's how my brand blew up on Twitter in 2010. And I was the number 25. I was ranked number 25 out of all Black men on Twitter. Number 1 was LeBron James, for example. Number 26 behind was Lil Duval. It was based on retweetability, based on our retweets. And then they ranked the top 100. And I was working, making $9.50 an hour at a group home at that time, but I could write poetry. And so that's what blew my brand up. And so celebrities started following me, and then they started reaching out to me for coaching because they said, man, if you could tweet this, then that means you could teach this. So can we get on the phone? And that's what blew up my brand. But let me help y'all understand something about pricing with coaching. Because a certification is not required, you should not be spending $12,000, $10,000, $7,500, $6,000 on a life coach certification, because certification is not required. So you can go open an office in your city and be a life coach, mentor, consultant. It's slight variations, but it kind of all in the same field. You can do that. And I'm getting ready to open an office in my city to coach former male athletes, because I was a college athlete and I got a lot of concussions in college, and I struggle mentally. And when you have these concussions and stuff, you could feel your struggles. And so I know that I'm a shooter, and I have to be prayed up and stay prayed up, because I know I'm capable of taking a man's life because of how my mind works. And so when you know that, you got to stay in purpose. You got to stay prayerful. You got to be with your kids. Like, I'm getting ready to go to the soccer game here in a minute. And I need to wake up my oldest son so that y'all give me a second. Y'all just walk with me, because he'll be asleep all morning. And we got to get to his brother game in an hour, but it's only 25 minutes away, so we got a little time. T. 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 Hey, we need to leave in about 30 minutes. All right. Go on, get up now. Don't let him come in again now. Go on, get up, son. Y'all forgive me. And so, because certification is not required, you should not be spending thousands of dollars on those certifications just because somebody talk about they ICF accredited. Lord, I lost my life. I got too many cords. And so that's the problem, is what the industry is people see an opportunity and they'll come in with no experience, and they'll come in and just from academic, they know how to create a curriculum, or they will get a curriculum that's been already made, or a lot of people are still a curriculum, and then they'll create a course and they'll charge $5,000. But what they will do is, when you search how to become a life coach, when you Google that, all of the certifications that come up on that homepage, they have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in search engine optimization. And they spend a lot of money in Google ads. So they are doing internet marketing, not necessarily teaching you how to be successful as a coach. And so you want to take your certification course and you want to make sure that it's going to teach you about the business of coaching and not necessarily how to coach. Now, how to coach, it should be something on there, but that's common sense. Like, you don't want to coach just like I coach, or you don't want to say exactly what I say. And that's the problem with a lot of courses, is they're telling people what to say and do. So I got this email, right? I got this email today. I'm gonna tell you, and this is what I said this to myself. It said, the title said, I have some money for you. Selling your work can be quite difficult sometimes. Competition, stress, sleepless nights, you name it. I watched some of your videos about dating, and it really taught me a lot of things about my mistakes and how to fix them. But I feel like your content doesn't sell to enough people. Therefore, I made 3 completely free email sequences for your subscriber list for you to test out. Feel free to write back to me if you are interested. I done got that same email from 10 different people, because they took a course and the course gave them a script to send out. And so what the course creators don't realize is they're creating a bunch of clones, and it messes up their industry. So they have taken a copywriting course, and this copywriting course is being sold to tens of thousands of people, and it's giving everybody the same blueprint. So in coaching, you don't want to be a minion. You don't want to be a Tony Gaskins minion or a Tony Robbins minion. So people say, hey, can you teach me how to coach? No, that's a gift. Like, that's a gift or a skill, but you develop that, because your coaching style should be like your fingerprint. If only you have your fingerprint, then nobody else should ask the same. You shouldn't ask the same question that I ask. You should ask it in your way. So when you listen to your client, you hear them a certain way. And based on how you hear them, you phrase a certain question. And you want to trust your instincts and trust your mind on how you ask questions. Because if you ask the same exact question that I would ask, I could be wrong and you could be copying my mistake. But if you trust your gifting and your heart and your service, your question may come up like this. If you want to give an exercise to your client, your exercise may be, if you're working with a coach who they're helping you create a budget. It's not a financial coach. It's not teaching you what to invest in. It's not a financial advisor, but they're helping you create a budget. They may think of something to help you understand the gravity of money, to understand money. They may come up with an exercise that says, okay, this is what I want you to do. With every single thing that you spend, I want you to, when you get in the car, open your notebook and write down what you just bought and how much it costs, and then tally that price at the end of the day. And so the physical act of writing out bubble gum, 167, gas, $1 million, uh, a hair comb. And so the act of writing that out, it may send something. But if they took a certification that taught them a script for coaching, they could miss their creative genius in helping their client go to the next level. And so in my certification, I'm not teaching you how to coach. I give you some examples, but I'm teaching you how to build a business and a brand so that you can earn a living from coaching. And so, like, one of my students and mentees is Latoya Okia, that y'all see on YouTube, and Amber, that you see on my mentor.life. You see Amber Johnson, Shannon Owens. That's just a couple that come to mind that's been there for a while. Now, Latoya specifically, she is such a learner, and she don't just learn from me. She learned from all kind of people, but I know what she learned from me. She does it verbatim. She does it specifically. And DeQuana Wise as well. And all of them, I have seen them earn a great living from using their gift, but just activating. What the problem is a lot of people want something for nothing. And so they will take a training and then they'll join my mentor.life and then they do nothing else. Now, some people do nothing and get booked on there. In the last month, I done got an email from the developers and said of 2 coaches that got on the site and got booked and didn't expect to get booked and never did the session. And so that's why I created my course. I had one lady sign up for this life coach certification on TonyGacksonAcademy.com, and she quit on the 5th video because it talked about integrity and it talked about working on yourself. She took it too serious. You're never going to be perfect. Coaching is going to help you be better, because when you're speaking this to a client, you're hearing it yourself. That's what helped me become a better husband, because people was hiring me about relationships. So when I'm telling a woman what her man should be doing, I was like, oh, I ain't doing that. Let me get my life together. And because I knew right, but that don't mean you doing right. You know how to eat, you know how to work out, you know how to budget, but that don't mean you doing it. But when you keep speaking it, them words bring life. And now you coaching yourself as you coaching someone else. And so you grow as a person. A lot of people think they got to be perfect before they start helping. No, you help. My mama, she tell me when she try to get some money out of me, and she'll write me and I'll be broke. Not literally, but it's like, I ain't got it for you. I got it, but I ain't got it for you. And she used to say, you should give from your lack. I'm like, what? Give from my lack? I'm like, my goodness. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's manipulating. You might be a narcissist. That's what I'm thinking. But then it hit me though. And I took it a different way, and it meant something else to me. It basically what I took it as, Tony, when you feeling down, when you feeling disencouraged, encourage somebody else. And by you encouraging somebody else, it in turn will encourage you. So when I'm struggling in my life, I come shoot a video to teach a lesson from what I just learned. And when I see how many people it helps, that then helps me, because then I can activate that. But back to what I was saying is, certification is not required to be a coach. So it is recommended. Now, it is required to join certain sites like mymentor.life. I require a certification because I want you to have taken a training. One lady, she couldn't afford my certification, so she Googled and took a $25 certification. Now, the $25 certification most likely was a ripoff, like meaning they got a certification from Udemy, stole all the content, and then started reselling it. It probably was worth $1,000, $1,500, but somebody stole it. And that's what a lot of the internet people will do. They'll steal stuff. And then Udemy, I used to have my course on there. These doggone people do $10 sales. I go on there, I see my life coaching certification course selling for $10. I almost sprained every ligament in my fingers typing so fast. I got on the computer. What in the world? You sell my course $10. They're gonna write me back. Oh, well, yeah, we have found that courses sell better from $7 to $10. I say, do you know this is a life coach certification course? People paying $500 for this, and y'all gonna sell it for $10 without my approval? And they say, oh, well, you have to opt out. You got to log in and opt out. I took all my course off Udemy, and that's what birthed TonyGasselsAcademy.com. I said, y'all ain't finna be giving away my intellectual property like this for $10. And so I say that to say, you got to be careful what training you take. But right now, I would not spend more than $2,500. And if I'm going to spend $2,500 on a certification course, I need to be able to see who created it. And I need to see a brand equity. The brand equity, their net worth for their brand equity, it need to look like at least 2 million. This person, and you could look like 2 million and have $2,000. So looks can be deceiving, because when I was making $9.50 an hour, because I had went on Oprah to tell my story and I had a picture with Oprah, people thought I was a millionaire. I didn't make a dime from telling my story on Oprah. But perception is your reality. It ain't necessarily the reality of the person that you are perceiving. And so people can create a facade online. We see it all the time. We see it all the time. And I just don't have the energy to come on here in no three-piece suit, to come on here and dressed all up. You know, I'm on here in my dry fit shirt, and it is what it is. Because when you out here and as a coach and you selling yourself, you marketing yourself, you just want to be authentic to who you are. Don't try to come and create no character. And who is for you will be for you. And marketing, there's really no rules to marketing. There's marketing degrees, there's marketing companies. I've never paid a marketing company. I paid one company what they did. I can't remember what they were doing. If they were doing SEO, I did SEO, it did not work. And so I found the best marketing is you being authentic and you being consistent. Just telling your story, sharing what you know, and being authentic and being consistent. All this other marketing works, but what price are you willing to pay? Are you willing to lose your integrity? Are you willing to be seen as a charlatan, as a fake guru, to sell courses? And I see guys who got this much knowledge selling courses for $3,500, And it's like, you ain't even did nothing in your life. I can't even barely Google you. And how you selling a course for $5,000, $3,500? Google, I type your name in Google, they give me question marks, asking me who I'm talking about. But these guys will come out here and sell a course for $5,000, and they just talk good game, and that's not what you want to emulate. You want to come in with integrity, and you got to be authentic to who you are. And so I want to share that because coaching, I just opened my coaching yesterday for a limited time because I hadn't took 3 months or 5 months or something like that off from one-on-one coaching. It's not something that I really do, but when you're a coach, this is what you should feel like. I'll tell you this. This is a feeling to know that you're a coach. Is when you're drawn to it, and it's something that even when you don't need the money, you still want to do it. And I had to take a break because of, my brand size, all the comments and emails and all of this stuff, it gets heavy. And I got a full family and we busy and we moving. But so I took some months off, and based on the coaching, what they teach you in coaching, people who not coaches, they teach you how to set your price. And what they say take your yearly income and divide it by 52 weeks, and then divide that by 40 hours a week, and that's your hourly rate that you earn. Then as a coach, multiply that by 3. So if I did that based on my income, my hourly rate would be around $10,000. And so who do that? It's some people charge $10,000 an hour for their coaching. Some of these YouTube guys do that. And because I done reached out to one YouTube guy who got a big YouTube channel. He had a salesperson call me. I said, okay, all right. I see what he on. Do you know they told me to do an hour coaching with this man? $30,000. $30,000 in person. $20,000 for an hour on Zoom. I reached out to the author of this here book. I don't want to hate on people. I ain't even gonna show y'all the book. This book is about money. And I reached out to the author of this book. He wrote me back. You know how much for an hour coaching? $7,500. Let me show you an email I just got the other day. I might have deleted it. Let me show you an email I just got. I might have doggone deleted it. I think I deleted it. But the email said, I didn't want couples coaching. I just wanted coaching for myself. $1,600 for 4 sessions. I definitely would do it if I had it, but that's $400 a session. That is way too much. Now, and see, so it's mindset. It's your demographic. It's who you serving. So my rate is really high, but that's what I have to charge. Otherwise, I'll be so inundated and overwhelmed and stressed out. I'll be worth crap to my wife and my sons. And then the value, I know with a single text, I could change somebody's whole life, take them from 0 to $1 million because of my network. Just like this gentleman came to me with his business, and I put him with a Hall of Famer. The Hall of Famer signed on. Next thing you know, his business go from 0 followers online to 10,000 followers online. And then he able to line up other champions. Then I put him with a WNBA champion. Then I put him with a all-star, another NBA all-star, just because of my network. So I have to charge. So that's what you have to look at too when you're looking at this stuff. And you're going to see the differences. But it's people in coaching charging $30,000 an hour because of their level of success, their level of knowledge, their level of value, or whatever. And then there's people who got courses and they charging $5,000, $10,000 when it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. People come and they say, oh, your course too short. People don't understand that it's a sales tactic to bore you to death. So that's why when you go to these funnels, to these pages, they have 50 minutes worth of reading. That's why they teach you on the webinars to talk for 2 hours, because they want to out talk you to where you so tired, you just be like, oh, let me just buy the course. Listen, let me just get this course. Man, you done sold me. You've been talking 2 hours. And so that's a sales tactic. And so the reason why I have a very little bit of copy, and the reason why I got a 7-minute sales video on the homepage of my course, is because I want only the people who are convinced, who are sure, who are ready to become a coach, because that is a coach with integrity. I don't want to sell anybody on becoming a coach. I don't want to convince anybody on becoming a coach, because if I talk to you long enough, you could be convinced. And if it ain't for you, now you just flush money down the drain that you could have put up for your child college fund. So the money that you spend, you want to be able to get out into the market and make that money back. And so with the coaches, which we're supposed to do monthly calls, but I missed some months just due to my life schedule. And I'm not ready to turn that call over to another one of my coaches to teach it, because some of the questions could be pretty hard. And with me having 15 years experience as a coach, I'm able to answer any question that a new coach asks me. But some of my coaches, they only been coaching for 2 years, 3 years. They may be making 6 figures, but they only been in it for, less than 5 years. And so I haven't turned it over yet. But here soon, I'm gonna have some other coaches running the monthly calls. So sometimes some months we may get even more calls. But a part of being on my mentor.life is monthly calls that we miss some months. And then a part of taking my certification is monthly calls that I miss some months, and just due to my schedule. But I hope that I didn't see any other questions. Aisha, Jeremiah, God bless you now for that blessing you sent. Uh, she thought, God bless you, Aisha. Aisha maybe thought this was a normal Q&A. So, hey, let me see. Hey, T, you about ready? Hurry up, son. We're going to be late. I say, hurry up. We're going to be late. We need to be out of here no later than in 11:30. All right. Well, wake up late then around here dragging his feet. Like, come on now. Son, your brother got a game now. So, hey, if you missed any of this, go back, watch it, and catch this. In the description box, I'm on this other little system using this. And I'm not too tech savvy on with this system. But in the description box, I put the link to my training. And so you could watch the video on the home page. You could look at the outline. It's a read-only textbook, because people, intellectual property, other coaches who want to, take that book. And then it's little quizzes in there. And it's another thing that I did. Coaching is not about smarts. It's about service. It's not about you being a genius. It's not about you being able to pass tests. That's why I don't have these long tests. And that's what I was going to say is people see my course, and because it's a few hours of video, if they sit down for a day, they could finish it. But that's not how you're supposed to finish it. You're supposed to do one section a day and take your time. Take like 9 weeks going through all the different sections and writing it down. A lot of people, they just sit and they let the videos play while they cooking and they doing all of this, and then they email in and ask a question that was answered in the course. And I'm like, okay, you're not taking this seriously. If you do it like some of the coaches, Shannon Owens, Amber Johnson, Latoya Okia, DeQuana Wise, and you take your time and you get the knowledge and you implement what you've been taught, then you can find some success. And there's many ways to do it. So if you go in your city, you and get 10 clients from your church. Like, so what I did is I offered my coaching services to my high school that I graduated from. They brought me in and they paid me $3,000 a month to come to the school twice a week. I'm a coach who have experience, who have built success, but I don't have a college degree. But they pay me more than they pay the school teachers, which is not good. But that's the thing, is when you bring in something different and it's not regulated, a teacher, they can't pay a teacher $3,000 a month for 2 days of work a week, because that's a break the regulation. And so that's what a coach has the freedom of doing. The NBA team put me on a retainer. The college sports teams that I work with put me on a retainer. And I go to their sports team once a month. I do a team session, and then all the players have my phone number and they can text me. I work with men's teams and women's teams, and then high school, middle school, and pro teams. So coaching is different. So now if I see a nice little startup and I see they done raised 40 million, I will walk in there and talk to the owner and say, hey, I would like to be your morale coach for your team. You put me on retainer as an independent consultant at 5,000 a month, 3,000 a month. I will come on Mondays or on Fridays, and I will sit in your extra office all day, and I will have a calendar that your staff, they may have 8 staff, 10 staff running a tech company, developers, they could get on my calendar and they come in and we talk for 30 minutes. And just to keep their morale up, so they got somebody to talk to. That right there is going to be a thing. It's not a thing in every company right now, but in 10 years from now, that's going to be a thing. And so that's why coaching is still growing, because it's really about your ingenuity. I pitched that to the school and they paid me 3,000 a month. I pitched that to the NBA team and they paid me their retainer. I can't say how much because I signed a contract. And so these are things that I'm creating. I'm not sitting and waiting for it to fall in my lap. I'm creating this. I'm innovating. Steve Jobs said the difference between a leader and a follower is innovation. So you don't just, but see what school has done. I went to college for 8 years and didn't get a degree. What school has done, what I've noticed with a lot of people, they don't think like that. They get a certification, life coach certification, and then they want everything to fall in their lap. You eat what you kill. If you don't work, you don't eat. So if I get a certification right now today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my church that I'm serving in, and I'm gonna talk to the pastor and say, hey, we got a lot of broken people in here. I'm a certified life coach, and I would like to use that extra office on Sunday after church and do office hours with the people who are struggling. And y'all, as a church, just pay me $25 an hour. All these people paying tithes. So if I'm there 8 hours, what's that? $200. Yeah, that's okay. 200 times 4, that's $800 a month from that one consulting gig that you're doing with your church. Then you could offer that same thing with 4 other people. 8 times 5 is 40. That's $4,000 a month off of 5 gigs. That's how you have to think with your certification. Is you got to create your proposal, create your pitch, create the plan, and then get out and make it happen. And that's how you earn a living as a coach. A lot of people just get on mymentor.life. They pay $20 a month and they expect the bottom to fall out the sky and for them to just be flooded with bookings. No, that's not how that works. Some people get that fortune and they get booked and they ain't did nothing. Some people sign up and the second day they get a booking. But you got to go work. You got to go. And so that's what I'm teaching in my certification. And I put it in the description, and I put 10% off on there. A little coupon code just for me wasting your time on here. But look around. Look around. I can't be mad at you if you take John Maxwell certification. If you take Tony Robbins certification, them guys been at it way longer than I've been living. They've been doing it as long as I've been living. And so I can't be mad at you. Yeah, you're gonna pay $10,000, yeah, or $5,000. No, they don't have a mymentor.life to help you get clients. I think John might have created one because I talked to his manager and I told him his manager about this, John Maxwell. He's like, oh, we're gonna steal that. So they might have one now. But see, that's innovation because people were saying, Tony, can you coach? Can you? I'm like, listen, I'm booked up. So that's why I created mymentor.life for my coaches could sign up and be marketed to clients. And we finna ramp up that marketing. And so this is the thing. If you got a heart for service and you want to serve, you want to help, then coaching, consulting, mentoring, it don't have to be giving advice. You could be helping people start their business if you got a business. You could be helping people start their group home and you got a group home. You could be helping somebody become an HR professional if you work in HR. You could be helping somebody, create a budget plan. If you got $10,000 in savings and a 750 credit score, you could be a budgeting coach. It's not a financial advisor, but you just helping them create a budget and so that they could save some money and so that you teaching them what you know about credit so they could build a credit score. But you're not a credit repair person, you a coach. And so it's several, we got coaches who coach parents raising autistic children because they are mothers of autistic children and they found success and balance and a system and they want to help other mothers find that same balance and system. And so coaching could be across the board and you using your gifts to serve. And even if you just like to listen, which is a gift, if you like to listen, which can be a skill, then you can just being that sounding board for people can change their life because most of us don't have anyone that will just listen to us and intently listen and ask us great questions to push us closer to the answer, the solution. So, hey, I got to go. Son got soccer game here and we 20 minutes away from it and it started in 28 minutes. So God bless y'all. Watch this back if you missed any of it. The link for my training is in the description. Compare it to the other ones that's out there. Compare the pricing and see what you come up. Look at my brand. Look at my success. Look at their brand. Look at their success. If they know more than me, take their course. You could take their course and still join my mentor.life if they don't have a platform that will help you meet clients. It just requires a certification. It don't require my certification. That's why it's not Tony Gaskins mentors.life. It's my mentor.life because it's for whatever certification. You just got to have a certification. Can't get on there, just jumped off the porch now. God bless you. And we will talk soon. If I miss some questions, I might get back and see it. But I'll do these hopefully once a month.